So, hey folks, welcome back to another session on Azure Developer Community with our expert speaker, Mr. Murlidharan Dinanathan. And today he is with us to give a lecture, expert advice and lecture on the session
Expert
of
speaker, Mr.
Azure Stream
Murlidharan Dinanathan.
Analytics, which is one of the important part of Azure. It is one of the advanced topic which he'll be taking. So, without any delay, let's continue with the session. Over to you, sir.
Thanks, Aaron. Let me share my screen. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so today, good evening, friends. Today we'll be seeing how the Azure Stream Analytics works and how we can configure for different events, how we can capture the inputs, how we can do the queries, and how we can see the outputs, and what are the different ways that we can integrate the inputs and the outputs with the Azure Stream Analytics. So this is the main topic that we are going to see it. And if time permits, we'll see how to create a user-defined function and how we can use it with the SQL, that is nothing but the Stream Analytics query language as well. So here are my Twitter handles and the LinkedIn handles. Let me reshare. It looks like it got stuck. Yeah. So here is my blog post link, Twitter, GitHub, and Meetup link. So you can follow me on the different social medias. Okay, so today agenda is nothing but we'll be seeing what is Stream Analytics and how the Azure Stream Analytics works. So what is the architecture? What is the benefits? And there is a new query language called Stream Analytics query language. We'll see some of the sample queries and we'll see how we can use and create the user-defined functions by using this either C# or by using the JavaScript, or even we can use the machine learning outputs as well as the user-defined functions. And finally, we'll see the demo as well. So let's get started with what is analytics. So analytics nothing but the where we will be doing some kind of analysis for the past or the history of data. So it is not something like that the current data. So either it will be in a minute or hours or in a day late of data. So what this scheduled interval will be like either it can be in a hourly we will be doing the analysis, or on a daily or even a week or on a monthly basis we will do some kind of analysis. For example, we will do the sales analysis between today's and yesterday's, and this week with the last week, and current month with the next month, something like this. Okay, so this is called analytics. Generally we will do the analysis of the past data. So what is then what is called stream analytics? So stream analytics nothing but where the data is keep on coming into an motion, and we will be start analyzing the motion of data. So when the data is in movement, so we will be reading those data and analyze, and we will be processing and sending to the output. So this is called stream analytics. So generally here the frequency between two different data will be in a milliseconds, not even a seconds, it will be in a milliseconds. Okay, then we'll come to the what is Azure Stream Analytics. Okay, so Azure Stream Analytics nothing but a serverless scalable and complex event processing engine. So it is used to do a real-time analysis of multiple streams of input data. So we can get data input from the multiple data sources, and we can use it, we can process it, and we can send it to the multiple outputs as well. So mainly it is used to detect the predicting the trends as well as detecting the anomalies. So what are the usage of the Azure Stream Analytics? So it is used to detect the fraud detections, overhead engine. For example, if there is a flight is running, so there will be a lot of sensors which will be keep on sending the data. So the heat and the pressure and everything. So then we can use the Azure Stream Analytics to uh, process the data. And the real-time patient monitoring, for example, if a patient is having kind of a high level BP, or even the pulse is fluctuating in a different parameters with the different seconds, then we can analyze that also. And even we can use it for the log analytics. And the another thing is we can use the fleet monitoring with the connected cars. For example, when the Tesla and other cars are now more are connected with the internet, so we can use how much time it is traveled and how many kilometers it's traveled. Those are the informations that we can use it. And even we can use it for the IT infrastructure and the network monitoring. So what are the different rate of data is coming, and what is the output, throughput, everything that we can use it. And even for the IoT devices, for example, we have having running in a cold system. Okay, so where we can identify how much the temperature currently is maintained in the cold storage system, so that can be identified by using the IoT devices. So how the Azure Stream Analytics works? So basically, it takes the input data, and the middle is nothing but the Stream Analytics engine. It processes the data and it gives the output. It is a very simple. Give the data, process the data, and gives the output. Okay, so little bit in detail. So the input can be an IoT hub, so where it can get the data from the different IoT engines. Okay, and we have the so in between the we have the Azure Stream Analytics engine, which will be processing it, and we can send it for a different output as well. So we can create a Power BI dashboards where it can send the data to the Power BI dashboards, or even it can send the alerts to the different system by using the Azure functions or the logic apps, this that kind of engines. Or even if you want to store it for a large storage for the long term, then we can send it for the storage as well. Okay, so little bit more detailed one. So the last one we have seen only one input. So here we can see the multiple sources of input. Still, it goes to the Azure Stream Analytics engine. Then the data is stored into the Cosmos DB. From the Cosmos DB, where we can develop the Power BI dashboards. Even we can use the Azure monitoring services, and we can create the dashboards. Then we can alert the respective persons as well. Okay. The next one is the canonical architecture of Azure Stream Analytics. So we have the first one from the left. So we have the event procedure producers. So where it can be your own applications where it can generate the events, or we can have IoT applications or the devices, or even we can use the low power devices like a real time operating system things that can be connected with the Azure Gateway APIs. From there, it can all the data will be collected in the event hubs. It's nothing but the ingester. From the ingester, the data is sent to the Stream Analytics engine. Then the Stream Analytics engine it does the all the transformation on the processing, and it sends the data. Either it can send it to the long term storage like in a database system, or even it can directly send to the presentations for the Power BI dashboards, or even you can export into the Excel for different analysis purposes as well. So what are the benefits of the Azure Stream Analytics? So it is easy to get ease of getting started. So it has different connectors so that we can connect with the different sources of input. So that is the easy of getting started. And the next one is the programmer productivity. So it has the SQL like syntaxes. So it is easy to query the data where it comes to the input and where it is getting processed. We can use the uh, SQL like query syntaxes. Okay. The next one is fully managed. It is completely serverless, so we no need to define any infrastructure for that. It's a kind of a platform as a service, so we no need to define no need to create or install any of the systems. So automatically the services are available, we can directly use, and it's completely scalable also. Okay. And it has us the low TCO. It's nothing but the total cost of ownership. So we will be using on a subscription basis. So it is you pay what you use. Okay, so it is a easier for the total cost of the ownership. And reliability, it has a good service level agreement. So if you are going for a different subscription, so where we'll be getting the enterprise grade SLAs. And the performance, so it uses the in-memory data for the um, processing the data, so the performance will be much better. So the next one is Stream Analytics Query Language. It's nothing but called SAQL. So it is a kind of an SQL query syntaxes. Most of the developers who interacting with the data, so definitely they will be interacted with any of the database system. So here the data also uses very SQL query syntaxes, and I would say it's a subset of the transaction query syntax, SQL syntax. And what are the different operations that you can do by using the SAQL? So we can do the data manipulations like select operations and all we can do it. Aggregate function like min, max, count, median. So those are the extra functionalities that we can do. We can do the all the data type functions, temporal functions, string functions, mathematical functions, geospatial functions, and windowing extensions and scaling extensions. So these are the special for the Stream Analytics, like a geospatial windowing extension, scaling extensions are the additional things that is available only for the Stream Analytics query language. So this is the very simple query where we are selecting the data from the input. So the select statement, and we have given all the columns which we need to be selected. So that is given from the input source we are selecting. It's a very simple syntax. It is nothing but a select column names from the table name. So that is very equal to the SQL statement. So the next one is, so what here we are doing is select set of columns into the output from the outputs from the input. So here what we are doing is we are selecting set of columns and we are storing into the output. So how we will be doing the same syntax in the SQL also? It's something like that. We are creating a temporary table like we will be doing it, correct? So it's very similar to that. The next one is the with extension. So even the SQL Server we can do the with, and it's kind of a common table expression. So where here also we can store the data, we can select the data and store it with the stage 0, that is the with functions. And in the future I can use the from stage 1. I no need to rewrite this query again and again. So instead of that I can use the stage 0 which is stored with the extensions. I can use it. So here also the same thing. So we have used the stage 0. Here also we have used the stage 0. Okay, so what is the UDF? So UDF is nothing but the user defined functions where we can create our own custom logic inside the user defined function, and that can be called into the select statement of the um, in this stream analytics engine. So these functions can be developed by using the JavaScript or C Sharp, or even if we define all your logic in the Azure machine learning, that's also can be called here. So the next one is the very simplest one for the user defined function. So here what I'm doing here is I'm calling the UDF post JSON. I'm giving some input. So this is the user defined function. So in the top I have written the basically what I have done is I'm collecting the string and I'm returning as the JSON object. So that's what it is does. Okay, so the next one is what are the different ways that we can create the Azure Stream Analytics jobs? There are multiple ways. The major ways, the mostly people will be using the Azure portal. We can directly use the Azure portal, or we can use the Visual Studio, or we can use the Visual Studio Code, or even we can use the PowerShell as well to create the job. So now let's get into the demo. So we'll see how we can configure the input and the SQL jobs and the outputs as well. So I'll be switching to the Azure portal. Just a minute. Yeah. So I'm into the Azure portal. So here already you can see some of the jobs that I have tried it before the demo. So let me go and create the new resource. So we'll get started from the fresh. So first we will be creating the input hub. So we'll go to the IoT as our input hub. So I have chosen the IoT hub. So I'll be creating. So let's select the subscription is space go. So I'll be creating a new resource group, Azure demo. So I'll be giving the AZ IoT hub. Okay, so I'm using the region is East US. So then I'll go to the networking. So I'm leaving as it is. I'm not going to change anything. So unless it has required. So I'm going to use the free tier. Okay, so already it is in use, so it is not allowing me. So I'm using the standard tier. I don't want any defender options. Okay, so I'm going to leave everything as it is. So I'm creating it. So it says the validation are passed. So let's go and create it. So once we create it, so then we will be attaching with the device for the IoT device. So let's see, let's wait. It takes just a few seconds to complete it. So still it is creating. We'll wait for a few more seconds. So still it is creating. Okay, so in the meantime, we'll start creating the output. It's nothing but so as we need to store the output of the results, so we need the storage. So let's go and create the blob storage. So we'll get the create resource, storage account. So we'll go to the storage account. So let's set up the storage account as well. Still it is in deployment. Okay, so we'll see let's demo storage, and we'll be using the same thing. Okay, I'm not going to change any other stuff. So I have selected the resource group as well as the I have given the storage account name. So I'm going to the click and encryptions, review and create. So hopefully it should have been done. Still it is creating the IoT hub. So let's create the storage in the meantime. Yeah, so we got the IoT hub is created. So let's go to the resource. We'll attach a device. So we'll go to the device under the device management. So there is a button called add device. We'll add the new device. So I have given as my input device. I'm saving it. So we got this. So it will have set of keys, like the database connections. So we need to use the primary connection strings to get the input from the IoT devices. To this connection strings should be set on your IoT device. So we'll come back and see this. So I'll just copy this connection string. I'll store it safely. Okay. Okay, so I have copied and stored it. Let's come back to the storage. Yeah, the storage also is completed. So let's go to the resource. So we have to create the container. So I'll click the containers under the data storage. I'll create a new container. So I'll put as demo container. So I'll put 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I've created it. So it will be no anonymous access. So I'm leaving it as it is. Okay, there is no encryption scope. Okay, so it's created the container as well. So we got the container, we got the input collecting device. So now let's set up the Azure SQL Analytics job. Okay, so let's go to the resource. So then we have to go to the analytics. So we have to create the Azure Stream Analytics. So here we have, so click Stream Analytics. So I'll put as demo ASA Azure Analytics. So as you go, resource group is as demo. So I'll go and use the East US. Okay, so we have two different environment, hosting environment, cloud or edge. Edge is nothing but it runs on a container, so kind of on premises areas where we will be using always the cloud. So streaming unit is one, so I'm using the cloud as my hosting environment, and I'm clicking the Stream Analytics. So now it creates the Stream Analytics engine. So now we have created the inputs. So that is the IoT device. We got the output device to store the data. So that is the blob containers. Now we are creating the Stream Analytics job. So now we have three or independent. So now we need to connect everything together. So that is the next step. So okay, so it's got created. So now we'll go and configure the inputs and the outputs. Okay, so here on the job topology you can see the inputs, functions, query and outputs. So now we have to go and configure the input first. Let's go and configure the input. So we have to give the add stream input. So it is from the IoT hub, so I'm selecting the IoT hub. So I'm giving input. Keep it very simple. Okay, so this is subscription details. So okay, so all everything I'm leaving as it is. I'm not going to change anything else. So save. So it's testing the input. So still, if we want, we can test the connections between the stream jobs, between the inputs on the stream analytics engine. So we can test it. Yeah, it's got succeeded. Okay, now let's go and configure the output. So we'll click. So the output is nothing but our blob storage. So we have to select the blob storage. Okay, so blob storage. So here I'm giving us the alias as output. So everything else I'm leaving it as it is. So I'm just saving it. So now we have connected the stream engine, the analytical stream engine with the input and the output. So now we need to define a query to determine which rows that we need to be processed. So we need to write the query. So let's come back to the query. So you can see here, select star from the input and the output. So I'm just giving the input name is nothing but our input here. So we can use as input. So the output we have given us the output. So we can use the, it is a output. So now we got the input and output from the select query. So you can save query. So now we don't have any data. So it will say there is no data from the input. So to configure the data, so we need to be use an Azure the Raspberry Pi simulator. So we'll be using this one now. I will copy the connection string. Okay, so this is one device that it generates the data based on the temperature. It generates the random temperature and sends to the our IoT hub. For this, so we need to define the connection string. So I'll go and define the connection string here. So So I have copied and pasted my connection string. So we can go and check. When we click the run here, so it should give a valid data. So without any error. Yeah, it started sending the data to our IoT devices. So you can see here. So now let's come back and see into the query. So we can go and test query. Okay, so we have not yet started the job, so that's why it is not saying. So to start the job, so we'll come here. So come to the overview. So there is a button called start. So once we started, then the analytical engine will start and it will receive the queries. So I'm starting the engine. we have to see this why it's got failed. So still it is starting the job. Let's go to the anonymous access now. Still it is starting the job. Let's go and test the output. Yeah, the job is started successfully. So let's test the job, the connection with the output as well. Hopefully it should not give any errors. It's saying it's finished. The service principal has the storage account as specified. Let's come back here. So we didn't have Azure ready, so it should work. Okay, so let's try one more time. Okay, let's stop the job. As it is, the job is running, it is not allowing to change it. So let's go and stop it. Let's go and change the authentication mode to different one. So it's not allowing us to edit. It stopped. Let's go and edit it. So instead of manage identity, we'll use the connection string. Let's copy the connection string here. Let's try with this. Otherwise, we'll use the existing one to test it. Again, it says it's failed. Okay, that's fine. So we will be using the our different one, the existing one. Okay, let's see about the inputs. So let's come here. Let's start the job. Anyway, the data won't be stored. That should be fine. So we'll start the job. Let's see the inputs. So let's go to the query. So let's run and test the query here. Okay, so let's switch to the another one. So morning I have been doing a hands-on. So let's come here, and it's the same topology that I have configured. So we'll go to the query. So we can see this is the query and this is the connection string. Suppose I need to use, I'll copy and paste it here. Stop, edit this line, paste it, run. Yeah, so it started sending the data. So we'll close this. Okay, let's run this query. Okay, so let me go and start the job. So now we are starting the stream analytics job. So and now the inputs are already streaming to the from the IoT device. So then all the inputs will be captured from the input and it will be used into this query, and whatever the results it is getting selected, so that will be stored into the output. So here I have used three different outputs. So one is the storage engine, another one will be in a Power BI, and third one is the Cosmos DB. So this is the one I was doing the hands-on. So now let's the job is started. We'll go to the query, we'll execute the query. So and we can see the outputs here. So we got the output here. So you can see the timeline. So it gives the timeline based on the UTC. So here you can see all the data and timestamps. So it has the IoT hub messages, everything. So all this data will be come here, and this data can be processed for our further purposes. So here what we have done is, so from the IoT sensor, we are capturing the data if the temperature is greater than 27. So if the temperature is less than 27, that will not be sent to the output. So if it is greater than 27, it will be sent to the output. So here, so this is the advantages of the Azure Stream Analytics. So the data is coming in very frequently, and for each record, it is getting processed within the within milliseconds, and it decides whether it needs to go to the output or not. Okay, so this is the one. So if we go and click the output, so we can go and see the output how it will be here. So this is the blob storage. I have used it. So we can see the data here. Unfortunately, it's taking time to load. Come on. Okay, so let's go to the table storage. So, sorry. So let's go to the table storage to see the table data. Let's go to the and go to the resource group. From the resource group, we can easily navigate. So we'll go to the storage. We can go to the containers. So this is the container that I have created in the morning. So we can see all the data it is stored here. So we can see the latest data. Let's go to the delete. So you can see the data. So how the IoT devices send the data. So this is the format it sent, and all the data is stored into the JSON format. Okay. Okay. So this is the where it stores the data into the containers or the output area. So then we can use it for the further processing. Okay. So now let's come to the another interesting factor. So I can come to, I clicked the query. So here I can write the user defined functions. For example, so I'm just giving the job input. So I'm getting all the job input. So I'm doing this JSON stringify. Okay. So if I select this to write the input function, so we can click the functions here. So here is the where here is the area where you can do your all your functions. Okay, so here what I'm doing is from the given input, I'm just returning the temperature. So that's what I have done within this function, because already the data is into the JSON format and I no need to do any pause or stringify. So that's the reason I'm able to access the temperature element. I'll go and click the query. So instead of selecting all the columns, I'm just selecting only these two columns. Okay, so as this is running, so I cannot edit now. So I'll go and stop the job. So we can see how much input is sent to the system and how much output is sent to the output devices. So this is the difference between the inputs and the output events. So let me stop the job. Okay, so let's go and edit the query. Okay, still the job is running, so we'll wait for a few more seconds. Okay, now the job is stopped. Let's go and change the query. So I'm just going to return the temperature. It's stopped, but still it says still it's running. So let me delete or let me change the query. So over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the, I'm just sending the job input to the JSON stringify method. From there, I'm just returning the temperature. And here I'm just taking the all the other columns. So that's the easiest way. Otherwise, we can just call the temperature here. And I can put all the other columns at the last just to verify it. So I'm just going to select it. So you can see here, so this is the JSON stringify, that is our custom function, returns the temperature from the JSON input. The JSON is input nothing but this, the entire row will be sent. From there, I'm just returning the temperature, and this is the temperature, actual temperature from our SQL input on the other columns of the data. So this is the way where we can write our custom functions, and that can be called over here. So these are the things that I want to demonstrate today. So we have created an input and we have created an output, and we have created a SQL stream job as a streaming job, and we have connected the input with the output and the processing for the processing. So we have used the very simple query that the temperature is greater than 27. To get all to generate the inputs, we have used the Azure Raspberry Pi to just send the random temperature metadata to the Azure streaming jobs. Okay, so let's come back to the PPT here. So if there is any questions, please post it over there. So I will be answering it. And that's all, Varun. So over to you.
Thank you very much, sir, for coming here and delivering the session on Azure Stream Analytics. If anyone is having any kind of queries, kindly put them in the comment section. And if not, you can directly connect with the mentor on the LinkedIn, and he'll be more than happy to help you out if you have any queries. And guys, you can join our Discord server. The link is being triggered in the on your screens, and we are continuously having many sessions on Azure, and also organizing quizzes and many contests where the winners are getting swags. So yes, you guys can be there. Thank you very much, sir, for conducting the session and coming out and taking out the time at such time. Thank you very much, sir, and hope to see you for another sessions as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
Thanks all. Thanks. Bye.